Hey, Snow.
Hey, MJ.
What's going on?
I am just enjoying the food and beers that you brought over. So, we recently went to Kansas City, and last time we were talking about Boulevard Brewing Company. Well, MJ found out that there is a carrier here in town. Wallapai Quick Stop carries a couple of varieties of the Boulevard beers. This one that we're having is Boulevard Bourbon Barrel Quad Barrel Aged Ale. And let me just tell you, so he brought over the wings, and it goes good with the wings too. But then he brought over a box of Samoas because it's Girl Scout cookie season. Let me tell you, fucking pairs amazingly. I am still like licking my lips off of that one. It just goes so great with all the flavors.
Yeah, because this is like 12.2%
Yeah.
by volume.
I mean,
It's
you can
strong.
have like one of these. You have one. Unless you really want to get shit-faced, then you drink the whole 4-pack. That's why they only come in 4.
But the Samoa mellows it out.
Mm-hmm. And then while you're eating the Samoa and then drinking your beer, it gives the beer like a nice caramely aftertaste. Because it's very harsh when you're drinking the beer, when you first try to drink it without pairing it with anything.
The first swig was kind of like, woo. And then
it was good
bad.
though.
It
was a good woo, but it was like, whoa, you are strong. Yeah. So I have to look at your alcohol content. But the Samoas, oh my God, just pair really good with it.
Yeah, so, we're sorry to PETA that we cheated and we used the Gates hot and spicy rub to do some short ribs and some wings. PETA, we did use the hot as funk to do a few of the ribs too.
And those were good too.
Yeah, and then I finished it off with some Frank's Red Hot Wings.
I approved of all of them. Like, all of them were delicious.
I know. It's a wonder I'm single.
I'm not even going to say which one was my favorite, because I liked them all, like, in different ways, like they brought different things to the table, so to speak.
Yeah, like I said, it's a wonder I'm single, because I can cook.
Mm-hmm.
So ladies, hit us up on my Instagram page. Well, not Snow. Hit me up on my Instagram page.
Yeah, hit MJ up.
Speaking of snow,
we had snow here.
It's about 10 o'clock. I looked outside and it was pouring. And I was just like, oh, okay, good. Good for around here. We need all the rain.
We live in the desert.
Yeah. And then I was watching that movie Interstellar with Matthew McConaughey.
I think I've seen it.
First time I've seen it. But then I look outside and there's literally like 3 inches of snow an hour and a half later. And I was just like, holy shit, what happened?
Wait, on your side of town?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Because here we didn't, it didn't even cover the streets. So.
Oh, it didn't?
No.
Oh, yeah.
And it was fine downtown, but, maybe that's because that's where the sun sets, is more over here. I don't know. Or does that sound stupid?
No, because it was 11 o'clock at night when it was snowing.
Well, if you look at, oh, okay.
So no, that wasn't it.
Okay, it wasn't it. Because I'm like, if you look out my door right now, you can totally see the sun beating down on my house. Okay. It wasn't that.
So yours must went away quickly.
Yeah, I guess so. I heard the rain though. I mean, I got woken up in the middle of the night with the rain pounding on the window.
Mine stayed because I woke up this morning and I was gonna make sure that I set up the NASCAR race to record today, and my satellite was down. I had to get on a stepladder and clean off the satellite dish because it was packed with snow.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I don't think that we got that much snow downtown.
And being from New England, I get kind of nostalgic for it, and I'm like, oh, cool, it's snowing. Wake the kids up, like, hey, go look outside, it's snowing. Oh, at Wallace, because they've seen it 3 or 4 times in their lifetime. And I open the garage door, put on some music. I'm like, all right, I'm going to sit out here for a few minutes, just watch the snow come down. I lasted all of 5 minutes before I was, fuck this shit. This is way too cold. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I have totally lost all my New England blood.
Yeah, you have desert blood now.
Yeah, so I got to trade my New England snowcad.
Snowcad.
I was trying desperately, for some reason in my newsfeed on Facebook, it's been constantly giving me Goodwill Hunting clips, because I guess probably if you click on one, that's why, the link.
Do you say Boston around it a lot? And then it's
Boston.
like picking up on the Boston?
Yeah, it might. But then I was like, wow, I haven't seen Goodwill Hunting in probably at least 25 years or so.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm like, I feel
Is that movie that old now? It's 25 years old?
At least.
Holy fuck.
That had to come out in
We
the
are getting
90s.
old.
You should see how young Matt Damon looks in it.
I know.
Ben Affleck.
I like that movie. I like that movie.
So I had the desire to rewatch it, but I couldn't find it on any streaming platforms.
That's the one where I got to say the line, Morgan, quit jerking off in my mom's. That came from Goodwill Hunting. Morgan, are you jerking off in my mom's room again? Well, I can't remember exactly what he says. If he says quit or are you?
God damn.
It's the only one with the VCR.
But Robin Williams was so fucking brilliant in that movie.
So here's my thing with Robin Williams. I always thought he was a much, a million times much better actor than a comedian. Personally, just for me.
I thought his stand-up was good, but
I thought it was too much. Like it would be exaggerated.
You got to realize, back in the day, he was on a lot of coke and stuff like that. So that's why he was all sweaty on stage, and he's kind of like all hyperactive and moving back and forth.
Well, that explains it then, why he behaves like that during his comedy. I don't know. I've just always loved him as an actor. I'm like, he is a really good fucking actor.
No, and he's a much better dramatic actor than he was. Well, not dissing him as a comedic acter. He was good.
No, but yeah, the way that you can like
actor,
hide the like wanting to laugh all the time and be serious, that takes talent. Like, I mean, he is really good at the dramatic roles.
One of the best movies where he combined both was Good Morning Vietnam.
Yeah, he is good in that. And I think he won the Oscar, right? For Best Supporting for that?
No, he would have been...
Or no. He did win the Oscar for Best Supporting for Good Will Hunting. Right. I think he was nominated. And that's why it was such a big deal when he actually won for Good Will Hunting, because people felt like he did get robbed in...
Yeah. And that
Good
one's still...
Vietnam.
I think we're coming up on like probably close to 10 years since he's been gone.
Yeah.
It's got to be close, at least.
Right.
And that was the one that when you found out what happened to him, you were kind of just like, really? Robin Williams? He always seemed like, you see him in interviews, even when he was promoting his dramatic movies, you would see him and he always seemed up and stuff like that.
Okay, wait a second. Maybe I'm totally confused right now, because I thought that the reason, like his main reason for committing suicide was he found out that he had MS. Is that the same thing that Michael J. Fox has? He found out that he had that, and he didn't want to be a burden.
Neurological disorder that would be a deteriorating.
But I thought they said that he had MS, because I made a joke. I was like, boy, well, that was a big F you to Michael J. Fox for hanging on all these years.
It wasn't MS. It wasn't MS. I don't have it in front of me. But no, he coped with severe depression for years.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that, but here's the thing, like, I don't know if I'm going to be the one that's going to sound bad, but I have no problem with people. How do I say this? I'm just going to say it because it's not going to come out great, no matter how I say it. I have no problem with people committing suicide if they find out that they have a disease that they don't want to deal with. I'm sorry if if they found out that they had cancer and they wanted to, that is their choice. They already know they're going to die. And if they don't want to deal with it, I don't think we should make them.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, obviously we don't know what was going on in his head, whether it was depression or whether he didn't feel like dealing with this disease.
That's what I always thought it was, though. He didn't want to be a burden, and so he did that.
A great example of this, and it was in the news this week, is you heard about Bruce Willis, what's going on with him. And
I haven't heard in a while, but I knew that he was doing the thing where he can, like, his brain works, but he can't vocalize things.
He can't communicate. Right. But now it's gone to a dementia stage where he doesn't remember the people around him now at this point. And I guess that would almost be worse, being trapped in your head like that. Or, you don't know what's going on in Bruce Willis's head. But that might almost be worse, not being able to, he can't speak, he can't communicate. Maybe he's losing his ability to remember and stuff like that. That would be far worse because, if I knew I had something like Bruce Willis, what you're saying is, why wouldn't you just want to end it and have to endure that and put your family through that and the pain?
And you only keep like the good memories, except for the actual act. I mean, I know that part is hard on the people who are left. You know what? Here's something I heard about the whole Bruce Willis thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard that Demi Moore is really being there for him and taking care of him, even though he's married to somebody else. Like she is
Demi Moore and him had a falling out. I don't know if they're doing this reconciliation thing, but his wife has been really supportive.
No, I'm not saying that. Like, I'm saying that because Demi Moore was one of his wives. I mean, and they have children together.
No, and that was the famous thing. They were the it couple back in the 90s.
Well, I think it's awesome. I always thought that they were like one of the greatest Hollywood couples. Like, I thought they were like meant for each other. I liked them together. I was sad whenever they got divorced. I was like, really? Those two didn't make it? Those two seem perfect for one another. They're a little weird, but they're really fucking cool. I mean, both of them are slightly weird, but the good weird. But then they're really fucking cool. You wouldn't fuck with either one of them.
It wasn't the Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly type of thing.
No. Ugh.
Not like that.
Okay.
They broke up too.
She's
for a quick second.
She's a really pretty. I don't know what I don't get it. I've heard that he has a huge member or whatever, and maybe that's why. But I'm like, girl, you could do better. I don't know. I think she's out of his league. I'm sorry, but that's how I feel.
Yeah. Well, just kind of like Kim Kardashian was out of Pete Davidson's league too at the same time.
Yeah, but that was a rebound.
Right.
I guess Machine Gun Kelly is her rebound from Brian Austin Green.
Although, in Pete Davidson's defense, Pete Davidson is less crazy than Kanye.
Oh, most definitely. And it seems to me like Kim Kardashian likes crazy guys, maybe. Is she going to find herself a stable guy? Well,
no.
All of them have been kind of crazy. Didn't Reggie Bush got caught up in some conspiracy that involved Pete Carroll too, right?
And wasn't
and then the one that she married, for 2 seconds of her life, she married that guy. He ended up being weird.
Right, and who did she do the sex tape with? Some rapper guy.
Oh, no, it wasn't it Brandy's brother? Brandy, like RJ.
Ray J.
Ray J.
Yeah.
But that's Brandy the singer, her brother.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And that concludes our pop culture segment.
Oh my God, we just did a QAnon thing where it's like,
Entertainment
this
Tonight.
is tied with this, right? Or, oh my God, now we're part of QAnon.
I know, what you'll see is we have a bunch of strings up on the walls tying in from
Pointing
picture
them
picture,
to, yeah,
you know.
this is our conclusion.
So next time, you know, this is how it's going to end up. Tom Brady is going to be with Kim Kardashian, and Pete Davidson is going to be with Giselle.
I don't see that.
I don't see that happening at all. Either.
I think that Giselle's going to stay with her karate instructor or whatever he was, jujitsu, whatever the fuck it is. I think Tom Brady, we don't know what he's going to do next. I mean, I think
gets back with Bridget Monahan.
I doubt it.
I think he gets back with Giselle eventually.
Could be.
Because now he's
I'm not ruling that.
retired.
I'm not ruling that one out. You know, like she's like finally, but
matchmakers to the stars.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, maybe Pete Davidson will get together with Demi Moore.
Maybe she does like younger men. Remember when she was married to Ashton Kutcher?
Yeah, I mean it would be like married to your mom, but
yeah. But
did you see
she could take care of Pete.
Did you see the King of Staten Island, Pete Davidson?
Yes.
Bill Burr was the stepdad.
Yeah,
character.
The firefighter guy. Yeah. And then like he still stayed living with his mom.
Yeah.
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 I saw it.
Good movie.
It was good. It's like maybe that's why him and Kim Kardashian didn't work out. Like he's like, I'm not leaving my mom's house. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
So fuck you.
I'm gonna stay in my basement, you know.
Yeah, this is where I live. You can come over. We can hang out. We can kick it.
I think of the.
But you know, I'm not leaving, and I could stay over at your house every once in a while. Your big, beautiful house, but
yeah,
I'm always gonna live with my mother.
Think about the SNL money he saved by living in his mom's basement.
I know he's got to be like, he's got to have a lot of money by now. Then, you know. Living the good life.
Yeah, since you're not on Facebook and you know you don't really, you're disconnected, which is a good thing. I think for mental health, it's a good thing to be disconnected from everything. Especially
me. Like I don't, you know how I get. I don't want to get to where I'm like thinking bad about my neighbors and my members of community. So I can't be on there.
Yeah. So do you know the comics Dilbert? The one that takes place in the office, you know, and got the little dog with the tie on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. The tie always looks like it's blowing in the wind.
Yeah. Well, Scott Adams went on a YouTube, basically a podcast this week, and I didn't realize this about him. And he said like some really racist shit, where he was just like.
And he's the creator of Dilbert?
Yeah, Sky Adams is the creator of Dilbert.
Oh
so he goes on this YouTube podcast and he was saying, well, how black people are basically a hate group because 53% of them don't like white people. So that classifies them as a hate group and white people should stay away from black people. So immediately, USA Today, the newspaper, owns hundreds of newspapers across the country. And they all drop Dilbert, the comic strip.
Right.
Okay. And they came out with a statement saying, you know, we recognize freedom of speech, this and that, but
we don't want to be associated with this.
Yeah, we don't want to.
You're embarrassing.
We don't want to give this guy a platform, much less pay him for saying this stuff.
Right.
That's a reasonable statement, right?
Totally.
Okay.
They're just like, you can say whatever you want, but we don't want to have anything to do with it. You can think that, you can feel that, you can
right.
Go to Klan rallies if you want.
Exactly.
You can dress in the white robe and the hood if you want. You could do all that. We're not going to pay you for that.
Right. And immediately Sky Adams comes up with,
I got canceled.
Yeah, this is cancel culture.
Oh,
it's
fuck
going
off.
against my First Amendment rights of
They
freedom of
already
speech.
told you. You could say whatever you want. Then you know what?
Yeah.
I have a pitch for you, Scott Adams. This is the time to, you know how bands start their own record labels? Start your own fucking label for comic strips. You know what I mean? And then, hey, if it fucking sells and you can make it like printing in Ron Paul's newsletter, because remember when they came out and said that he was like hanging out with Klan members or was like a deep-seated racist. So anyways, you can publish in his newsletter. You can have your comic strip there and see how well you do.
Do you know, speaking of the Klan trivia, I did not know the Klan was actually starting in Indiana, not the South.
I didn't know that either.
That was a fun fact I learned on the Opie Radio podcast this week.
Okay.
Okay, so shout out to Opie for giving me that bit of information. But yeah, back to Scott Adams. You absolutely have the right to say whatever you want. Say whatever you fucking want. Cool, awesome. But there's consequences for saying whatever you want. Why would... And hundreds of newspapers across the country dropped Dilbert because of this. Mm-hmm. Okay? Which Dilbert, as far as I know, never had any kind of racist undertones to it. You know, it just kind of seemed like almost like The Office in a comic strip.
Right.
You know, that kind of humor.
Like, yeah. And it came out before the show.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
Dilbert's been out for years.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I didn't seek it out.
I always enjoyed Dilbert.
But knowing what his thinking is, now I'm like going, oh.
Well, this is what I always like to say to folks. I'm like, what I have said to a couple of people that I've worked with. I don't care how you talk in your home. And I'm sure that other people don't care how you talk in your home. When you bring it out into an arena where other people are going to hear it, that's when you're going to have problems, okay? So say whatever you want in your underground basement, in your lair, whenever you're having your Klan rallies or whatever the fuck you're doing, you're having your meetings with your white supremacists. I know I'm saying this and I'm being like, I'm doing it to be more of a bitch. That's why I'm kind of doing this right now. But do whatever you want in your home. Once you bring it out, then you're allowing for other people's opinions. And then other people's opinions don't always have good consequences, do they? Because all the newspapers that were publishing your comic book, they have the right to hear what you just said and then act accordingly how they would like to act. They're allowed to. If you never would have gone on a podcast and said that, no one would know about this. No one would be the wiser, and your comic books would still be printed. And you could still think that way. I don't know why you feel like you have to get it out and let the rest of us know that you're a hateful son of a bitch. Why? Why, MJ?
Freedom of speech.
Okay, so then be prepared for consequences.
Yeah, well, and if I would, and
we live in capitalism. They're allowed to run their businesses how they choose.
Yes, and I'm sure Dilbert was really lucrative to this guy. I'm sure it was. Sure. So, if I know, I'm not. This guy makes way more money than me. So maybe he's a better businessman than I'm in. But I do know this. If I had those thoughts, I would not be saying that on a platform where I know those thoughts are going to get out there.
I know. And I just wanted to mention, I have a good chunk of my Boulevard barrel quad, and I'm saving it till the end of the show so I can have another Samoa with it. Okay. I hate to interrupt the Dilbert discussion with that. Fuck him.
Snow.
Fuck him.
Snow,
it's like, no, here's the thing.
No, this is why we're like Howard and Robin.
I'm getting so sick and tired of these people going, oh, I have to go against the woke mob. No, you don't. You can shut your fucking mouth. You could still be a racist. Do you have to vocalize it?
No,
do you have to do that? Do you have to bring it to the floor?
Yes.
Do you have to say, this is the only way I can go on with my life if I let you all know what I really think about black people?
Well,
I mean, seriously.
No, yes, you can say it.
Fucking
say
idiot.
Say it.
Right.
Get it out there. Let us know how you think. But when you lose your paying gig because of it, then that's your own fault.
You have to realize that, hey, guess what? The people who pay you, they don't feel the same way as you. That's what it boils down to. And they're like, you know what? Since you have a job where you're basically in the public eye because you're making comic strips for the public to enjoy, we don't want to be associated with you anymore. That's all they're saying. They're not being ultra woke. They're not trying to take away any of your rights. They said, hey, you get this. You can continue to say whatever you want, but we're not going to be associated with it. We're going to be over here looking for a new comic strip to promote and have in our newspapers while you go ahead and do your thing. Well, that's seriously.
That's the exact reason why Roseanne is going to have a comedy special on Fox America or whatever.
And good for her. You know what? I'm actually going to watch it because I want to see
how unfunny
if it's even funny. That's what I have been waiting for years. I will watch any conservative comedy special that comes up. Every time I've watched one, not fucking funny. I'm sorry.
The only ones that sort of come close are some of Jim Brewer's stuff is funny.
But I don't consider him a righty-tighty. I'm sorry. I consider him a moderate.
Some of Dennis Miller's stuff is funny.
Okay. I used to think Dennis Miller was pretty funny until the last one where I saw, and he's just like going on and on about, he makes it more political than it needed to be. Everybody does their current events political jokes in their stand-up, but they don't make it the basis for which they are making the stand-up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They say their piece, and they make their profound statements or whatever, but they're not making the whole show be about that. And that's what he did. And it was like, because I could tell that some of the things were jokes. I didn't find them funny. I wasn't like, oh, that cracks me up in my seat. And I'm one that, I can laugh at the shit that liberals do too. We watch Bill Maher. We're fans of Bill Maher. He makes fun of liberals.
All weekly.
But he does it in a funny way. According to me, in my opinion, he's at least funny about making fun of liberals. You know what I mean?
Speaking of this, last night, Woody Harrelson hosted Saturday Night Live for the 5th time. And during his monologue, now he comes out and he prefaces, I guess, I haven't watched it yet. I just read the article. He's off the rails, pothead and stuff like that. And he said after noon, after 12 o'clock, he kind of loses his mind because he smoked so much pot during the day.
Right.
So this was filmed Saturday Night Live, again, monologue, live. And he comes out and says that the drug cartels were funding mainstream media to get people to take a vaccine from drug companies that were backed by the cartel. And obviously,
Moderna and Pfizer are backed by the cartel?
Correct. And they were paying off mainstream media to get everybody vaccinated so Moderna would make money.
Interesting. I mean, what the fuck is this?
I love Woody, loved him on Cheers and stuff like that, but just off the rails.
Coming up again for the crazy train.
Here's my fucking crazy fucking theory.
Or going off the rails again.
Here's my fucking theory. You know why these fucking Samoas are so good? Because they're laced with fentanyl. And they're very addictive.
Yeah. Right. They're
right. So the cartel is funding the Girl Scouts to sell their product.
What I want to know is Woody Harrelson crossing over into QAnon territory? Like, is this a QAnon conspiracy?
I'm gonna give Woody Harrelson a pass as he just smokes too much fucking pot.
Benefit of the doubt.
You know what I mean? Because he seems relatively cool in every other aspect that I've known him for. He doesn't seem like a right-wing
No,
lunatic.
He doesn't. But, like, what in the fuck are you saying? What did you just fucking say? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
with him saying that, like, that is just fucking ridiculous.
But that's just as ridiculous as me saying that Girl Scout cookies are fucking laced with fentanyl and the fucking drug cartel is funding the fucking Girl Scouts.
I know. That is ridiculous, too.
Oh, wait, but the drug cartel is funding the Girl Scouts so they can get close, so they can human traffic the Girl Scouts.
Why don't you just say, like, why didn't he just say, first off, that joke did not work. He shouldn't have tried to make a joke about the vaccines. Excuse me, but aren't the vaccines, like, so last year? Like, here's the thing. Here's how I feel about it. If you want to get the vaccine, fine, do it. I get the vaccine. I've had the boosters. I'm caught up on my shit. I will continue to get the boosters. Whatever they recommend, like, I'm going to do it once a year because I've had COVID with the vaccine, and guess what? It wasn't that bad. So if I end up getting it again, I would rather have it with the protection of the vaccine. That's just me, because I don't want to have a bad 2 weeks or week, whatever it is, the 5 days now that you shouldn't be around other people. Like, I don't understand, why are we still making jokes about people wanting to get the vaccine or people not wanting? Get it. Your body, your choice. I've already said this a million times. I don't fucking care. I even went as so far as to say, when people were bitching about the eggs, I'm like, fuck it. Sell them the eggs for 10 cents an egg, all the virus-infested eggs, because these people don't give a fuck about viruses. Let them eat the fucking virus eggs. I'm done listening to people complain about the government trying to help them. They all had the Ronald Reagan bullshit implanted in their mind, and it's not going anywhere. The famous fucking words that Ronald Reagan said when he said, government is the problem. Fuck it. You're those type of people. I'm not willing to be those type of people. This is my fucking tax money, and I want it to go for us and not the billionaires. Fuck you. Mic drop. Mic fucking drop.
All right, you deserve a cookie.
Right? I'm gonna eat it on air. Fuck you. You said I could have one.
Well, and here's like Bill Maher. He goes off on people with masks and stuff like that and saying, well, masks didn't work. How do you know? How do you know they didn't work? You don't know that they didn't work.
Even if they didn't, if that makes them comfortable,
right, then
you should think of them like you think about your Second Amendment friends. If that makes them comfortable, it makes them feel safe by wearing their guns on them, fucking let them do it.
Right.
And I don't have a problem with it.
And back at the time, we've always said, if you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask. But if a business required you to wear a mask to enter, then that's the company's right to do that. If you want to go to that establishment.
Yeah, or don't go there. Yeah, boycott them. Boycott them. This is so delicious, by the way.
Yeah. Samoa.
I'm telling you, Mom.
Samoa with a shot, followed by the bourbon barrel quad, barrel aged.
From Boulevard Brewery in
Kansas
City,
Missouri.
I found a new best friend by visiting Kansas City.
So Boulevard, if you're listening, we'll give out our address and you can send us some more samples, and we will gladly drink them on the air and review them for you. We came up on the 1 year anniversary of the Russian invasion of the Ukraine. And personally, I think Joe Biden had a lot of balls
Going over there?
to go over there to
Mhm.
Kiev. Now, they did it late at night. They didn't use the typical Air Force One. Again, any plane that the president is on is called Air Force One.
Right.
Doesn't matter what plane it is. It's not one singular plane. So they used a smaller Air Force One, flew him in. They took a train for 10 hours to get to Kiev. And almost nobody except for, I'm sure, the highly Secret Service and Zelensky's Secret Service knew he was coming. But he was out there walking in the streets.
It's kind of like, you know what I think of Biden when I think of how he went over there? I'm going to just go out on a limb here. He's G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe Biden.
G.I. Joe Biden, dude. He's fucking going over there. He's like, I'm not afraid to go over to war zones. He's like that old G.I. Joe man, you know, that you played with. He's a fucking badass.
When I grew
And
up,
he's like 80. He's probably like, what do I have to lose? What are they going to do? Shoot me down? I've already made it this far in life, bitches. He's cool.
yeah, and I grew up with G.I. Joe. I had like the G.I. Joe that was the size of a Barbie.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
that
you know what
he
I mean?
could date Barbie?
I don't know, because she was after Ken. Ken was
I
a little
know,
fruity,
but
though.
if he was like as big as her, like I used to play with Barbie and my cousin's G.I. Joe men, but they were the little ones, and those would still be her boyfriend. And she'd be like a giant and talking to one of them.
Well, yeah, that's when the
because they're
G.I.
so
Joes got
badass.
small.
Yeah, they're so badass. G.I. Joe Biden.
When you were a little girl, did you sell Girl Scout cookies?
I did. And I kicked ass at it.
So you were a mule for the cartel?
I got the fucking toy every year, and that's what it's about. Even if you have to be a mule for the cartel.
I mean, what did they give you?
Dude, I got the stuffed animal every year. Like, the stuffed animal was one of the top prizes. Like, you could get even better prizes, too. Like, you could get, like, the sleeping bag, which I never would have reached that. I think you had to sell 500 boxes of cookies. 500 or 1,000, okay? But I would always sell somewhere in the range of, like, 120 boxes of cookies or whatnot. So I think you have to sell 100 in order to get the toy, or you used to have to. I was a hustler. I would go all throughout my entire neighborhood. I mean, we're talking every block, every house, you know, going through there like a maze.
Right.
Plus,
right. And
my parents would take it to their work. They would trade off weeks. Like, one of them would have it for a week, take it to their work. The other one would have it for a week. Come back, I'd have, like, they were just full of
Right.
fucking cookie
Right.
orders. And everyone's buying them.
And not only are the cookies like crack cocaine, they're highly addicting, but who can resist, like, the little girl showing up with a little box of crack at your doorstep looking at you with those Puss in Boots eyes?
I know.
You know?
Okay, so here's a good example, too. One of our friends who has been on our show, Serena's been on our show, her daughter was a Girl Scout for, I think, only 1 year. Well, she had to sell cookies. And I'm like, oh my God, we're taking you out so you can learn how to sell cookies. You got to learn from a professional, right? You've got free fucking advice right here. Me and your mom, because we're in the same generation, right? So we're going out there. We're trying to get her to, I'm like, Ellie, you need to move your ass. You should have already been up to the door. You should have already been ringing the doorbell. I don't know where you are right now. You should have had the cookies sold.
Treat it like
What
trick or
in the
treat.
fuck?
Trick or treat.
Yeah, I did the same. It's a good thing you brought up that trick-or-treating. I did the same thing with her kids on trick-or-treating. Like, I'm like, all right, you guys. Free knowledge right now. I'm going to show you how trick-or-treating is done. Because me, my sister, and my cousin used to go every year, and we grew out of our little cute pumpkin. We would overfill that, so we had to go out with a pillowcase, okay? Because you're going to be working the neighborhood, All right? You coming back with a score.
Snow, that's true.
I'm going into Chris Rock, right? Okay, so we totally would fucking do it. I mean, we would. So I'm teaching her kids how to do it, and they're like, we're tired. We want to go home now. Sarah's yelling at us. Or Snow's yelling at us. And like, you guys are fucking wussies. Let's go. It's only 7:15. You had till 9 o'clock. What the fuck?
Yeah, speaking of that, Chris Rock, reminded me of Chris Rock. I was, the first time I went to New York City by myself, early 20s, I went to go see Metallica at Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
And my mom lived in New Jersey. And knowing Manhattan, you know, I knew I was geographically, you're on New York City, you're on an island. Okay.
Right.
So I'm leaving Madison Square Garden knowing I get to, you know, go north and eventually I'll get to a bridge that will get me across New Jersey. So I'm like, all right, I'll go up Broadway. I'll hit up Broadway. Okay. Broadway, you know, white guy on Broadway. Hey.
Broadway.
Yeah. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. You're on Broadway. New York. I'm thinking Frank Sinatra. I'll hit up Broadway. I'll get over to Jersey. Get across the river.
Do you think they named it Broadway? Did like all the fancy prostitutes used to hang out on that street?
It could be.
And they're like Broadway.
This was after they cleaned it up, though.
Oh. But I mean, that could be an old name from then.
But I remember as you go up and you go up, you know, once you start getting into the 80s, 90s, 100s, you start realizing you're getting to a bad area. Now I'm in Harlem. I was like, cool. Hey, there's the Apollo Theater. Oh, cool. Apollo Theater. But then I get up to Martin Luther King Boulevard. And all I could think of was Chris Rock's first special. If you're a white guy and you're on MLK, run!
So did you start running?
Well, no. But I'm stopped at a red light and I can see the entrance to the George Washington Bridge off to my right. You know, so
okay.
I take a right onto MLK. I can get up onto the exit, get on George Washington. I'm into New Jersey. And I'm just sitting there and I sort of sit down in my seat, you know, trying to make myself small because I'm in Harlem, I'm early 20s, you know.
Clearly white.
Clearly white, thinking about the Chris Rock.
Clearly
and
white.
one of those guys comes out to wash my windows with a squeegee.
Oh, shit.
And, you know,
you're like, no, thank you.
Nope. I rolled down my window like that much, and I slip a dollar bill out. Here you go. Light turns green. And out of Harlem.
So nothing happened to you, though?
Nothing happened. No, it was fine.
You didn't get killed. You didn't get murdered.
No,
obviously.
Yeah.
You didn't get raped.
No.
So I don't understand why.
The only violence that has been against me has been by white people.
Right?
So,
like, if every person on the planet thought about who is what color is the person who's fucked you over the most?
White.
Yeah, or it would be like, or sometimes it would be like their own race, you know, like whatever you are, like it would be your own kind that fucked you over the most because that's what you were around the most.
See, now we're going down the Fox News rabbit hole of whenever there's a shooting. Well, what about Chicago? You know.
Well, no, I'm not necessarily going down the rabbit hole. I'm just saying the people who have fucked me over most in life have been white, and I'm a white person. See, I'm just, the point I was trying to make was, I don't know what it's like for people in other communities, but I'm willing to listen. Do they, like, the people who have fucked them over the most, have they been white or have they been, like, members of their own community, you know? Like, you don't know.
It probably is. I don't know. You know, I mean, because Fox News came out with this, I think it was last week that they came out when they had to testify that, yeah, they were lying about the, you know, election being stolen. They knew it. They had text messages pre-Tucker
They were
Carlson.
the first network that called Arizona for Joe Biden. They were the first network that did that.
But But then they promoted the big lie and stuff like that. And like, well, who knows? Maybe it was. Maybe it was.
Because they wanted to, I think Tucker Klansman stated it the best when he said, "What's this going to do to our stock price?" when he did a text like that. And that was submissible in court for this whole thing. Like, they only want to make money off of you. They don't fucking care. They know you're stupid enough to fall for their shit. If we have any Fox News or
and they have
viewers who are listening to us.
And of course, Fox News isn't going to report that they have those text messages. Fox News will not report that. And they have brainwashed their audience enough to go.
No, but it was submissible evidence. They had to submit it in court.
But does Fox News, do their audience, do they even know that story?
No, because all they listen to, they're like, Fox News tells them, look, you only need to tune into us. Don't go listening to the other people.
Right, because they lie to you.
They lie to you. We are telling you the truth.
We're fair and balanced.
So you need to believe us. Like, that's what they're doing. And these fucking morons do it.
Right.
So, fuck them. You know what? They kind of deserve it. Like, but it pisses me off, too, because I'm like, it's almost like you're stealing candy from a baby. You know that saying, there's a whole song about it, like, stealing candy from like, they're that pathetic. Like, they need money and power that much. I look at them as junkies. Like, they're like Tucker Carlson just shooting money into his veins and power, like, oh my God, I can totally manipulate these people. Right. And they're just shooting it into their veins like heroin. Right.
And another good example of that exact thing was, got a couple more stories to go through, is what happened with East Palestine and the train derailment. Now, if you listen to one certain media source, they will say, well,
it's Joe Biden's fault.
Biden went to Ukraine and he won't visit here. But what was the percentage of what that voter base voted for?
They are like Kingman. It was at least 70% voted for Trump. Trump won this area. So my question is, would these folks even want Biden to go there? The person that should have gone there is the governor, because the governor
did go there, though.
Okay, I get that.
3 times.
I get that. And he turned down the federal assistance. They said, Biden asked him, look, we are willing to do whatever it takes to help you out. We will give you the funds necessary. No. He said no. And then he wouldn't declare it a national emergency after people urging him to declare it a national emergency. Now,
right.
Here's my thing.
After the fish were floating up in the water.
Right. Here's my thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but, okay, government. They got rid of civics classes, right? But, okay, in government, aren't governors basically the presidents of that states? When you do the whole states' rights things, those are the things where the governor precedes over. And then you have like your different branches of government in each state that control that. So
and Biden did it. And
you made it a state's issue. Mike DeWine, you made it a state's issue by saying, we don't need your help, federal government. We're going to do this on our own. And you fucking couldn't do it. You couldn't do it on your own. You need the help.
And Biden did say, whatever you need. Whatever you need, we're here.
He's talking basically president to president. He's like, hey, I know that I'm the president of the United States, so I proceed over everyone, but you're president of your state. So, like, tell me what's going on. Tell me what you need. I will help you on the federal level. Well, you're doing the things on the state level because that's what we do here in government. You've got it all handled, but I'm willing to help out more to get you back up to where you need to be. So
Governor DeWine goes on a CNN town hall the other night with some of the residents of East Palestine.
Right.
And he one of the citizens asked him about the cleanup. He says, well, we've already cleaned up he said it was 60 something truckloads of soil. We've already transported that out, and the citizen was well informed. He goes, "No, you haven't. I can."
Yeah.
He goes, "I can still see those trucks loaded up,
And
they're still there
They built tracks right over the area
without
in which
cleaning
it
up the
spilled.
soil."
Yeah, they built tracks right over it to have the railroad be able to continue,
Right,
sending the
because
cars.
you can't stop the trains.
Right. So they already built new tracks over where it derailed. So this is bullshit.
Now, part of me goes, well, maybe Biden should have, because he is the president, imposed his authority over DeWine and said no.
Respect my authority.
Yeah, and just said, fuck it, no, this is what we're doing. But what I do admire Biden for was him coming out and saying, no, Norfolk Southern is paying for this.
Right.
No matter what. And if they don't, we are going to double the fines
Good.
on it.
Good. And you would think that these fucking poor ass folks would at least appreciate that. Like, my whole thing was like, I felt like Biden was like saying, hey, we're going to help you out, but I want you to still look like the superstar, like you handled your state. Mike DeWine, he's being fair to him. He's like, hey, this is your state. We're willing to help you, but you can still have the credit for it. You can have the credit for cleaning this up.
Well, and the same guy that DeWine, he called it DeWine for saying, well, this many truckloads have been trucked out of there, which side note, the EPA did ship so many truckloads to Michigan, and Michigan didn't even know it was coming. Now, the EPA should have informed the state wherever that's going.
Yeah, they should have.
That didn't happen. So now the EPA is not shipping the hazardous waste out of East Palestine. Now that's on whoever's in charge of the EPA. But side note, you go back to DeWine, and DeWine goes, well, there's a probability that because we're testing the water that everything's okay, and we mostly believe that there will be no ill effects. And the guy was like, I don't want to hear you saying you mostly believe there'll be no effects. He was like, I don't want to hear that language. And
okay.
they cut back to DeWine, and DeWine was just like, And then the guy goes, will you come stay here? He goes, yeah, I've been there 3 times. I'll come back. He goes, no, will you come stay here until this cleanup is done? And DeWine's like, yeah, okay. And he goes, I'm going to,
okay.
and then the citizen was like, I'm going to hold you to that.
Okay. I want to say something right now because I'm sick and tired of the right doing their bullshit of why didn't Biden go there? Why didn't Pete Buttigieg go there? He's the head of Secretary of Transportation. There were over 1,000 train derailments under President Trump. Do you know how many Trump showed up to? 0. Do you know how many Elaine Chao, the Secretary of Transportation that Trump selected, do you know how many she showed up to? 0. Why is it that the Biden administration needs to show up when you don't fucking show up either? I'm tired of hearing this.
Plus,
I'm tired of the double standards.
Plus, Obama made the regulation to get better
and
brakes
Trump
installed.
Got rid of it.
Right.
Trump went in and he said, anything Obama did, I want to get rid of it because he made fun of me at his presidential dinner.
But who was a big campaign contributor to Trump? Norfolk Southern.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they okay, all the railroads, they heavily invest in Republican candidates. Heavily. Okay? They're all about it. Think about it. They don't want the regulations. These regulations that could have been put in place have not been there for like 20 some years. That's why they were able to do what they did with these out of date fucking railways.
Even though the railroad workers were warning everybody of what might happen.
When they were getting ready to go on strike, when they were saying, look, things aren't safe, like this is what's happening, they were absolutely right. And no one wanted to listen to them. No one wanted to listen to the workers. They never want to listen to the workers. And this is the real problem I have. Because guess who's doing the fucking work? Those are the people you should fucking listen to the most. They're the ones out here doing the work. All the fat cats, all the fat asses sitting in their fucking office getting fatter because they're just sitting there on their conference calls eating the whole time. Sorry, I don't mean to fat shame, but seriously, that is what's happening. They sit around on their asses. They're not doing anything. They are not doing fuck all. They're sitting there gossiping, doing whatever, talking about
learning how to pay.
They probably sit there and trade worse employees. Nope, I've got the worst one. Guess what this guy does?
Just sharing Dilbert.
Yeah.
Sharing Dilbert comics.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So fuck them. Fuck them. It's their fault. You won't listen to the workers. This is why this happened.
And you're only interested in how much are we going to get for buying back the stock. That's the bottom line.
Exactly.
So much for a short podcast.
I know, right?
Get ended on this, and a lot of people up until Trump had considered this guy not one of the best presidents ever, Jimmy Carter. And Jimmy Carter's in hospice, and I don't really know what Jimmy Carter did wrong, other than the Republican spin on it by Ronald Reagan and the Iran hostage situation.
The reason, I heard recently, because of all the stuff that's going out about Jimmy Carter. So Jimmy Carter was a peanut farmer. He was actually a very successful Democratic president who got Republicans to vote for him. And then things went sour where the economy started getting bad. Well, these people were they went against their principal core values. And I think that they take offense more than Democrats do when it comes to voting. We're kind of okay, our guy lost or whatever. They take it personally. There's some people out there who are still pissed off about the fucking Super Bowl. You know that, right?
I'm still pissed off. I'm still pissed off about this 2007 Super Bowl where the Patriots lost a perfect season to the Giants.
Okay.
So, yes, that still hurts.
Okay. That is what thank you. Then you're just making my point more. If you can't learn to let go of things, they're sitting there saying, we trusted you. We trusted you over our own person, over our own core values. When he ran against Gerald Ford, right? Before he ran against Reagan. Yeah. Okay. So they were we trusted you over this person, which was Gerald Ford even really a good choice? I mean, he only got put into office. Hold on. Okay. So Gerald Ford only got put into the presidency because Nixon had to resign, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So Jimmy Carter comes along. He's a peanut farmer. A lot of the regular everyday America folks trust him, blah, blah, blah. Jimmy Carter goes in, puts solar panels on the White House, first president to ever do that. Doesn't completely turn the economy around. But this is also important to where this is the last president in which wages kept up with inflation. It ended with Carter because we had Ronald Reagan who came in. And I love when they sit there and talk about, how
you talk about how
I forgot.
big government.
Yeah, well, no, the whole big government thing, but here you have a polished person who is an actor who becomes our president. A lot of people forget about that part, and they'll sit there and talk about, they're mad at Hollywood for putting in their 2 cents about current events. And I'm like, you guys literally had the actor president who is like your favorite president of all time, the god president who will go down in history, according to you, in infamy.
Their two greatest presidents were actually celebrities.
Right. Well, because Donald Trump was a reality TV star.
Right.
Ronald Reagan was like a cowboy actor.
Right. And Donald Trump was also like the real life Gordon Gekko, who
wasn't a good guy.
Yeah.
Right. So
but Donald Trump had this celebrity status about him. Like you always, like my whole lifetime, I've always known who Donald Trump was.
Oh, right. Yeah, because he's been around forever. But okay, so getting back to the Reagan thing, so they faked the whole Iran-Contra thing. Secretly, Reagan's making deals. Hey, if you release the hostages, I'll send you weapons. Like, it's a great trade-off. Just to win the fucking presidential election. And then he has the balls to sit there and say, government is the problem? What did you just do? You use government in order to fucking win your goddamn election. I guess you were telling us the truth. Government is the problem, right?
Yeah.
When you get the wrong people in there.
But
Jimmy Carter. No, here's the fun fact. I've been to Panama. I went on the historical tour. They mentioned Jimmy Carter, like he's the only president who gave the fucking Panama Canal to the Panamanian people. He gave it back to Panama.
Yeah, because it was their land.
And hence the name Panama Canal. He was the one that gave it back to them. And I think that made a lot of folks sore that the United States didn't get to control the Panama Canal anymore. Yeah. I seriously think that was part of it too, why they had to go against Jimmy Carter. But he's like, this isn't right. This is literally in their territory. This needs to be theirs.
Right. And by the party that comes over, well, they're coming over and they're invading your country and they're taking your land and they're taking over.
And why couldn't they just have where, you know what? Like Panama was fruitful and prosperous because it had this great canal area where everyone had to go through. If you were going to be passing goods from this point to this point, you had to go through the Panama Canal. Why shouldn't they get a piece of it?
Right. And for a geography lesson, in order to do that before, you would have to take your boat and go all the way down.
All the way around.
Central and South America.
Right.
To get your goods to the other
side. And there
of
were a lot of people who worked on the Panama Canal with the whole lock system, like it. And you can watch it if you go to the Panama Canal.
No, I'm familiar because my grandparents lived from upstate New York, and the St. Lawrence River passes between Canada and New York. And so they have locks. So I was familiar with seeing how they operate.
So I mean, but it's like why did I thought it was great that he gave the Panama Canal back to them. They need something to prosper on. They need a source of income. Why do we need to take everything away from people and then say this is what we'll give you? We'll give you this, we'll give you this amount.
Right, where you take it from them and then you give it back by going.
Well, they did that. They do that even with Jamaica. When they, so they took slaves from fucking Jamaica and then they are like, here you go. Here's your food supply that we're going to give you. Because the United States does give food to Jamaica, a third world country. And they've probably done it, if I was to guess, they've probably done it since all the way back then when they had this pact. It's like, why? Why are you doing that, though? Why can't they just prosper on their goods and services that they're doing, you know? Everyone has the right to do that, right?
Because America, fuck yeah.
Right.
And back to Jimmy Carter, and this will be the final thought, is I challenge anybody to pick a former president who has done more and given back more to the people. I'm not talking about going out and doing these college tours and doing these speeches where you're making $10,000 a night doing a speech to whatever, you know, and they all do it. I'm not saying Obama does it. I'm not saying that's a bad gig. Whatever. If somebody's going to pay you $10,000 to go up there and speak for an hour, more power to you.
Uh-huh.
But Jimmy Carter did more to giving back to community, and all the way up until going in hospice, he was still doing it. He was out there swinging a hammer for Habitat for Humanity. You know, there was not a better person who would go out there and give of himself. And I don't think you really heard Jimmy Carter going out giving speeches for money and stuff. He probably did, but I'm not aware of it. You hear about the Clintons doing that.
I don't know either. I mean, maybe Jimmy Carter is like the modern day Henry Wallace. I mean, Henry Wallace we're talking about the good Wallace, not George Wallace in the 60s. We're talking about Henry Wallace, who was FDR's vice president for his first 2 terms. And then the Democratic Party decided that they wanted to run Harry Truman for FDR's final term as vice president because Harry S. Truman was okay with testing the atomic bomb, and Henry Wallace was not okay with that. And so...
And look at where that goes.
The rest is history, folks.
Yeah.
That seems to me kind of like Jimmy Carter was like the modern day Henry Wallace kind of.
And I will have to hand it to George Bush Jr. He's probably got like the second best post presidency because now all he does is sit there and makes good paintings. I think he finally had this come to Jesus moment.
I know. Actually, his paintings aren't that bad.
No,
I mean, you would never
bad.
think that somebody like him would paint.
Right.
You know, because I always just looked at him as being like a frat boy grown up. Like a grown up frat boy. But,
you know, he really is the one that...
Did you know that him and Michelle Obama are like pretty good friends?
Yeah, they're like
besties. Like they have like a buddy thing together.
Who knew? And given that over the last 8 years and the way politics are, you know, when George Bush was in office, I went to go see Pearl Jam, and you know, Eddie would come out with the George Bush mask and do the bushwhack, you know, and George Bush is a murderer and all this other kind of stuff. And yeah. But
right.
Would you just kill to have, like, if the Republican candidate instead of DeSantis or Trump was George Bush Jr.? Knowing what you know now, going back in time.
I don't know, because we can't, like, excuse what he...
At least George Bush Jr. was sort of funny.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't need that. I don't need that from a president. Like, I don't need a president that's funny. I need a president that's gonna get shit done. You know, that benefits the American people. I should say that. I should stress that part, because there's a lot of presidents who get stuff done, but it's for fucking corporations. And I think they're the ones who have been having the best ride along. They're the fucking welfare queens. Reagan, like when you sat there and you tried to demonize black folks and call them welfare queens, The real welfare queens are the fucking corporations. They pay like 3% taxes while the rest of us hardworking stiffs are paying like
I know
triple, fucking 5 times the amount.
I know my taxes went up this year.
It's fucking ridiculous.
I still got returned, but it's not what it was.
I don't even know. I haven't done my taxes yet. I think I might get like $20 back, maybe. That like, I'm not gonna get barely anything back either.
All right, so our word for best citizen of the week is Jimmy Carter, and our award for the worst citizen of the week is Scott Adams.
Yeah,
and Scott Adams. I mean, shit. I like Dilbert, so what the fuck, man.
Right.
So on that note, we'll end it, and another shout out to Boulevard Brewing Company. Thank you for the beer.
Yeah, thank you, Kansas City.
Yeah, thank you, Kansas. All right, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.